We're not talking about selling everything you own. We're not talking about becoming a monk or selling all your stuff and selling your house and moving into a field somewhere. We're talking about practical, realistic minimalism. So here are 10 steps to practical, realistic minimalism. Let's get started. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos on raising intentional children and living intentional lives. We publish a new video every Friday. I'm not a huge fan of the word minimalism because I think it's become really trendy and a lot of people have kind of a negative view of that word. I prefer the term intentional ownership because I think that's what it is, but I'm also a reasonable YouTuber and I know that nobody is searching for intentional ownership. They're going to be searching for minimalism, so I'm sure that's what brought you here today. Regardless, minimalism is a term that covers decluttering and downsizing and living intentionally, so I'm okay with it. It's just not my favorite because of what the word has become. And I think decluttering is easiest whenever you take it slowly, so I will link a video I did about decluttering slowly and easily. Decluttering. But we've reduced our possessions by 50%, if not more now, and we're still going. So whether you're new to minimalism or you've been doing it for a while and you're trying to figure out how to make your life better by having less stuff, which almost always will make your life better, then let's get into these tips. Number one, stop bringing more stuff in. Just like with getting out of debt, the first step with that is always to stop getting into more debt and then you get a plan for eliminating everything. It's the same with minimalism. Stop bringing more stuff in and then start setting a plan to actually get rid of the stuff. Some people like to count the things they're getting rid of, and I've done that before. We've set challenges where we get rid of 5,000 things a year and stuff like that. I did a video on that as well. I'll link that. But if you do that, you have to keep track of the things you're bringing in. So while the goal is to not bring any more stuff in, realistically, you're going to bring some things in. But if you're trying to get rid of a certain number of things, remember that that's your net amount. So you have to subtract anything that you're bringing in from that amount of things you're getting rid of, if that makes sense. And new things are always exciting. We never buy something thinking, oh, this is going to make a great addition to my clutter in my house. We're always excited about new things when they're new. We're not usually thinking about the pile of clutter in our garage whenever we buy something else. But maybe we should be. So be intentional about every purchase from here on. If you don't love it, don't buy it. If it's not essential, don't buy it. You're trying to start practicing minimalism or decluttering or whatever, so stop bringing more stuff into your home, at least for now. Number two, get the minimalist mindset or the intentional mindset or whatever you want to call it. I've learned over the years, and I wrote about this in my book, Intentional Children, because the entire second half of the book is about this, that mindset is the most important thing in almost anything you do. It's the most important part. Like seriously, from finances to business to parenting to minimalism, mindset is key. So if you're sticking to this idea of intentional ownership with the not bringing stuff in and with the being intentional about what you buy, that mindset is going to be key in getting you to a minimalist home. And that all starts with knowing your why, so that brings us to number three. Know your why. Why do you want to minimize? Do you feel like a hoarder? Do you just want fewer things in your home? Or maybe you just want to be intentional about your life in general, which is a great reason to become a minimalist. Whatever your why is, don't forget that throughout this minimalist journey. Decluttering and minimizing isn't easy, and it gets tiring and it gets monotonous, and if you don't remember why you're doing it, then you're gonna have a really hard time getting through it all. But if you do remember why you're doing it, it's gonna be easier. Number four, find your system. You have options when it comes to decluttering and minimizing and simplifying your home and your life. It's not one size fits all. There's the KonMari method, which is probably the most popular minimalist method right now. Thanks, Netflix. And it's a great system, but it's not for everybody. It wasn't for us. I think it's cool. I like the idea, but it's not for everybody. There's all kinds of games and strategies and different things you can do to minimize your home, and they all work for the right person. So figure out which one works for you. Find your system. Number five, convert to digital. I used to own over 500 CDs. I was that guy. I don't even know how many CD holders I've bought in my life on different ways to store them because I thought it looked cool. And then finally in the end, I ended up just putting all the CDs on my computer and giving them all to my friend who loves CDs still, which is great for him, not for me. Honestly, I end up using Spotify more than anything, so I don't even really need all the albums that I put on my computer. But remember, if you do that, you're not supposed to put the albums on your computer and then sell the albums. That's not fair for the artist. So if you do put them on your computer, either give them away to a friend or recycle them or something else. But it's not just your CDs that you can go digital with. You can go digital with your documents. That's a big one. If you have a big filing cabinet or a desk drawer somewhere, Just convert all of those to digital, and you can get rid of most of them other than original birth certificates and important documents like that. But most of the other stuff can be put on your computer. Photos works the same way. And a lot of times if you have actual photos still, maybe in a box in your garage somewhere or wherever, they're gonna last longer if you start scanning them in and getting them onto your computer instead of keeping that old photo that's going to fade. And think of other areas in your life where you can go digital. Maybe the cookbooks, if you have a bunch of cookbooks, but you actually get all your recipes from Google, then maybe get rid of the cookbooks. Unless you have some that are special for you, just if you have recipes, if you have a recipe box, you can convert that to digital and just start getting rid of one thing at a time. And speaking of one thing at a time, number 6, downsize one room. The idea of decluttering and downsizing your entire home is daunting, and it can be extremely overwhelming. So start with one room, and it can even be the smallest and easiest room in your house, as long as you start with a room and continue to the next when you're done with that one. So if it is feeling really overwhelming for you, start with an easy room, like maybe the guest room or something that's already almost decluttered. You just have to make a few finishing touches. Or if you're feeling bold, go to the kitchen or even the garage. But again, it depends on you. Number 7, combine things. Finding things with multiple purposes and donating the things that don't have multiple purposes is a huge way to declutter, and it actually goes pretty quickly. This is especially important in your kitchen whenever you can find things that have more than one use. You can probably get rid of a whole bunch of the stuff in your kitchen. You'd be surprised at how little you actually need, or how little you actually use. Or you can try cleaning out a drawer, and every time you use an item, putting it into that new drawer for a month or 2 or 3, and then at the end of the time, see which utensils you haven't used in the last 3 months. And this doesn't just work in your kitchen, it works all over your house. Just think about where you can find multiple uses. Or maybe it means getting rid of 4 or 5 things and buying something new that takes the place of all of those things. Number 8, get rid of duplicates. This is an easy one, and it's a great starting place. There's a good chance that you have a lot of doubles of stuff that you don't need doubles of. Like maybe you have 2 of the same shirt, but you only wear 1 of them. Or you don't wear that shirt very often, so why do you need 2 of it? Any sort of duplicates in the house, start getting rid of those, unless you actually need more than 1 of them. And this could even apply to things like dress shirts or dresses or whatever. If you have a few that are blue, for example, and you really only need 1 that's blue, even if they're slightly different shades, then you can still consider those duplicates and you can get rid of them. Coffee cups are a big one. Do you have 100 coffee cups and you only use 2? Get rid of the coffee cups. So they may not look the same, but they're still duplicates. If you only need a certain amount and you have way more than you need, get rid of the excess. Number 9, implement the 5-year rule. One of the biggest reasons we keep things is because we think we may need them later, even though realistically we know we probably won't most of the time, but that's one of the biggest reasons we keep things. And this is one of the hardest habits to break, but you can just start with the easy stuff to make it easier. If there's something in your home that you haven't used in the last 5 years, whether it's a tent for camping and you haven't been camping in 5 years, or whether it's a bicycle and you're just not going to use it, or an old piece of workout equipment and you go to the gym now, whatever the case, if you haven't used it in the last 5 years, go ahead and get rid of it right now. I understand that there is an exception and there are some things that you haven't used in 5 years that you think you still need, and maybe you do still need those, but this is like 1% of the time. This is the exception, not the rule. So don't make that exception for everything that you haven't used in 5 years. That's how you'll know if it's an exception or not. If you're making that rule up for everything, they're probably not all exceptions to the rule. Some of them might be, but you're probably lying to yourself. I do that. I lie to myself about stuff like that. Stop lying to yourself, and I'll stop lying to myself. Number 10, stop watching this video and start doing something. You have enough ideas, there's a good chance that this isn't the only video you've seen on minimalism. A lot of times we tend to, and I am really bad about this, we try to just dive into a subject and learn as much as we can whenever we really would have been better off if we just started by taking action. So even if you only get rid of 1 thing today, start by doing something. Do something today, and then do something tomorrow. Even if it's small things, do something. Take action. If you're trying to form this new habit of decluttering or minimizing or just being a minimalist, then starting small, often starting tiny, is the best way to go about it. Make it so easy you can't say no. Just do something right now, today, to get you towards your goal. And that action is what's going to create the motivation. It doesn't work the other way around. If you're waiting for the motivation, it's never going to come. Taking action will motivate you to continue taking action. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos on money, minimalism, and our travel journey around the world. Don't forget to check out my new book, Intentional Children. I'll put a link to that below. It's all about money and mindset, teaching your kids about money, the things that slip through the cracks in other parenting books, and the things that the schools are not teaching our kids. That's all for today. I will see you next week.